All right, now we're going to do some dosage calculations on heparin. First, we'll start with administering sub-Q heparin, and then we'll do IV bolus and infusion rates with heparin. If you want to take the time to pause the recording and work the problems yourself, you can. As I'm scrolling to the next problem in a little bit, you can pause it then when I get to the question and work that problem as well. All right, so we've got two problems to work here. We're going to start with the sub-Q problem. So let's get started. The physician orders heparin 7,500 units sub-Q daily. Heparin is labeled 10,000 units per ml. What will the nurse administer to the client? All right, so we need to know how many milliliters we're going to administer sub-Q. So we're going to draw this up in a syringe. All right, so that's the way you need to think about this. Okay, so what do we know? This is what our available is. 10,000 units per 1 ml. So let's go ahead in ratio and proportion and put that 10,000 units per 1 ml. All right, but what we don't know is how many milliliters are in 7,500 units. So let's put 7,500 units over X milliliters. We don't know how much volume that is. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is multiply. Cross multiply 7,500 times 1. So we get 7,500, just so you can see it visually. All right, over 10,000 times X. So 10,000 X. All right, next we're going to say 7,500 divided by 10,000. And we get 0.75 milliliters. That is our answer. Remember your rounding rules. You have to remember these rounding rules. Remember that if it's greater than 1, we will round to the 10th place in milliliters. If milliliters are less than 1, we are going to round to the 100th place. And this is for injections, IV injections, okay? Or IM injections when we're drawing up with a syringe. All right? So if you want to pause, let me pause and take notes. You can. I'm going to go ahead and delete and move to the next problem. All right, I'll pull it up. And if you want to pause and work it before I do, then you can come back and check your work. All right, so the problem reads, a client weighs 165 pounds. The physician writes an order to bolus with heparin sodium 80 units per kilogram, then initiate IV infusion at 80 units per kilogram per hour. Heparin is available as 25,000 units in 1,000 milliliters of 0.9% normal saline. Calculate the bolus dosage and then determine the infusion rate in mils per hour. Okay, we've got several steps that we need to do here. So just let's think about the first thing that we need to do. All right, so if you look here, we've got our patient's weight in pounds, but we're working in kilograms, as you can see. So we need to convert this. So to do so, remember your conversions. 165 divided by 2.2. And when you divide that out, you get 75 kilograms. Okay, so this is how much our patient weighs. All right, so the first thing that it wants us to do is calculate the bolus dosage. So let's just focus on the bolus right here. 80 units per kilogram. All right. So we've got a couple of things to do. Let's go 80 units, because we know this, per 1 kilogram. What we don't know is how many units are in 75 kilograms. So that's what we're trying to figure out. So X units over 75 kilograms. All right. So we're going to say 75 times 80 divided by 1x, and you get 6,000 units. Okay, this is answer number 1, bolus dosage. All right, next we need to find the infusion rate in mils per hour. All right, so the problem says, then initiate IV infusion at 18 units per kilogram per hour. Okay, so let's set that up. 18 units per 1 kilogram, and I'm going to put per hour so we don't forget about it, equals X units per our 75 kilograms, because that's how much our patient weighs. All right, so we don't know how many units that's going to be. All right, so next we're going to cross multiply 75 times 18 over 1x, and we're going to get 1,350, this is a comma, units per hour. All right, but we are not done. Why? Because we're looking for meals per hour. All right, so the next thing we have to do is find what heparin is available as. It's available at 25,000 units in 1,000 mLs. So right here at the bottom, I'm going to write 25,000 units over 1,000 milliliters equals, and we're using this, 1,350 units, and I'm going to put per hour so we don't leave that behind, over X milliliters, and that's going to leave us with the meals per hour. All right, so we're going to say 1,350 times 1,000 over 25,000 times X, and we get 54 meals per hour. That is answer number 2, the infusion rate. So this is how much heparin we're going to give as a bolus, and think of a bolus as a large amount given during a short period of time. And then an infusion rate, we're going to set a pump, always a pump with heparin. We're going to set our pump at meals per hour, and that's where we get the 54 meals per hour.